I'd like to welcome everybody to the Skills USA California Speaker Series. Nice to have you back from the holiday break, and we appreciate you being here. Today, we have the pleasure of having someone invite us into their kitchen. So I'm going to turn it over to Andrew. And Andrew, if you would do the introductions, we'll get started.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Briggs, and I'm the catering coordinator here at Needed Bakery. And it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Chef Carlos Pineda, who is the Director of Hospitality and Culinary Services here at Rebecca's Children's Services, as well as the Executive Chef of Needed Bakery and Catering. So Chef Carlos does a lot of community-based work with different nonprofits and organizations, things like the Gilroy Exchange Club, the Gilroy Sunrise Rotary, and he also has the pleasure of being on several boards, like the Leadership Gilroy Board and the Gilroy Foundation Board. So he's going to talk to you a little bit about his career in culinary services and how it led him to a lifetime of community service and of supporting his community. So Chef Carlos Pineda, everyone.
Woo! All right, don't be quiet and shy, everybody. I hope y'all can hear me nice and clear. Thank you, Andrew, for my introduction, and thank you again, Skills USA, for having me here. You might see me look down a lot because right below here, I have a monitor that I can see everybody who's on video. So if you see me doing this, I can say everybody who's out there doing their thing, some photos. So I don't feel like I'm alone. I can get some spirit love. Thank you for my fingers there. A round of applause. All right. Okay, let's breathe for a minute. Let's just relax. Let's do our thing. I hope I am very exciting and fun and energetic for you all. I hope you're all having a fabulous day. I'm here in Gilroy, California, keeping nice and cool on this warm winter afternoon. So you might see some fans pop out because fans are my thing. And that's how I keep the people entertained out there. So I hope you're all having a great day. And I hope I can introduce you to the world of culinary arts. When it comes to the world of culinary, I am in our professional commercial kitchen here in Gilroy, California. But before we talk about that, let me just give you a little bit of brief information of who I am and what I do and what I'm about. And then later we'll have some Q&A so you can ask questions and hey, let me know what you all want to know. I'm an open book and an open canvas, so I'm always ready to rock and roll. And I do have an amazing production team behind the camera, so thank you to them for doing all their amazing work. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, so I do have some notes over here on my left side, so you might see me look to my left. That's what I'm doing. I'm reading my notes so I don't forget anything, okay? All right, so who am I? Okay, so my name is Chef Carlos. I'm actually a pastry chef by trade. I started out in the pastry and baking world back in the day when I came to culinary school and baking school, but then I transformed into the savory side, which is my favorite side now, and I was able to learn the whole savory side of the culinary arts world, which is now my home and what I do. I'm able to dabble a little bit in the baking and pastry side, but I'm also able to learn new things and transform and teach a lot of skill sets. So I'm actually working at Rebecca Children's Services, which Andrew mentioned. We are a mental health agency. We're a mental health treatment facility. But my primary goal here is where I teach. I teach disadvantaged youth ages 15 to 25, job skills, life skills, and culinary skills. We have about 150 youth that we teach a year, and we started in 2009, and since then we've had over 1,300 students graduate our program. Our main focus is not only to teach individuals how to get the job and how to get the job that they'd like and make sure it's a good paying job, but it's also learning how to keep the job. In the industry, it's easy to get a job anywhere. It's easy to make an interesting resume that people might like, and it's easy to do an amazing interview. But when it comes to the work, you have to learn how to keep that job, which is more important. So that's kind of what we teach to our youth. And I'll talk a little bit more about credentialing and teaching and all that stuff, but my main focus also is to instill my life learnings into them so that way my students are very successful. And like I said, we've had over 1,300 graduates, so I feel like we're very successful on that side. To me, food creates a community. So I don't know if any of you out there are starting to cook, learning to cook, having fun with cooking. Food for me brings people together. It brings my students together. It brings my family, my friends, my coworkers, before COVID, obviously. It just brings everyone together. And so that's what my main focus is. And this is why I actually got into cooking. With that said, I am, like I mentioned, born and raised in Gilroy, California, which is the garlic capital of the world. And I'm very fortunate to have a sponsor, one of the largest garlic companies in the United States, and I would say the world, but there's a couple of bigger ones across the oceans, is Christopher Ranch. And they're right here in our very own backyard. So I love my garlic, and I definitely have that Go Garlic fan. So I bring that out just to kind of give everybody a laugh. But I'm all about the garlic. Taking a picture, 1 second. Yes. All right. So that's that. And so again, my focus is to kind of get out there, have fun, do my thing, and always share love to our agricultural families, because they're the ones that are out there working hard to make sure we have food on our table. As you all have noticed, when it comes to a worldwide pandemic, food is always going to be there and people still have to eat. So there's going to be tons of jobs out there to kind of advocate for that. So I love, and I always take care of my agricultural families. I'm, in the prime center of California. So we have bell peppers in the back. We have Watsonville as, the strawberry capital of the world. We have Salinas as the salad bowl capital of the world. We have Morgan Hill next to us. They're the mushroom capital. We're the garlic capital, the best in one only. And again, it's just fun to kind of have that all available. So we always like to focus on farm to table. What farm to table means is basically I'm able to literally to go to different vendors and different companies and say, hey, I want to use this in my next dish. I want to use that in my next dish. Can I literally go in the back of your crops, take a box from your your warehouse and say, hey, I'm going to use this for my catering that I have for a mayor or a business or networking event, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I do here now. As they mentioned, we do have a Needed Bakery and Catering. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And that basically is what I do now when it comes to the culinary side. So that is basically our students graduate from our program and we have an apprenticeship. They're able to get on-hand job skills, life skills, and culinary skills, but also are able to get hired on as an apprentice with us. They go through the interview process, they learn how to make a resume, they get a food handler certification, which is good for 3 years, and I proctor them through that. So I'm able to teach them the real ways of using the sanitation and safety, especially because it's such a huge component in our world. It's one of the driest, boringest materials when it comes to food handling, but it's the most important because in the end, we don't want to hurt anyone or worse, kill someone because of our cooking techniques. So it's possible, right? In every industry, you're going to have that negative stuff, but it's true. We want to make sure we're providing the best food, the best quality of food, and making sure everyone's enjoying it and not getting sick or hurt by eating the food. So with that said, I don't worry about that right now. We have an apprenticeship program. So the apprentices come on and they're hired on and they're in the kitchen working hand in hand with my team. I have my production chef, I have my catering coordinator, and they're basically in the kitchen, clocking in, clocking out, taking lunches, and they're learning the skill set to basically be an individual and a business person and learn how to basically promote themselves in a positive way. So we have a lot of catering events and networking events, and they're learning how to basically say, hello, my name is so-and-so. This is what I do, this is what I made. And they're learning confidence and self-esteem building to be in a positive light. So that's what our main focus is. So that's kind of when it comes to our apprentices. Our Needed Bakery and Catering is 100%, all 100% of the funds go back to fund our Culinary Academy because our academy itself is a free program for our youth. And we get kids coming from as far as Los Banos, Monterey, all the way up to San Francisco because they're coming to learn the skill sets in a 10-week program, 20 sessions, 60 hours, and they get a full accreditation for it from their high schools, which is an amazing program to have in different sectors, right? So the apprenticeship is a great thing to have. We're out there, we're mixing, we're mingling, we're networking, we're making great food. We primarily focus on appetizers. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about Needed Bakery and Catering, you can find us at www.needed.com. And that's how you spell Needed. You can actually order now. We ship all over the US, like I mentioned, which is amazing. And that's our baked goods. So our students are learning how to mix and measure and package our baked goods. We have cookies, we have scones, we have breads. And again, we ship it all over the US. So that's one way of making money when it comes to the industry. You're able to mix, bake, package. There's obviously certifications that come into play. We have to have a credentialed, or not credentialed, a facility that's monitored by the health department. So we get those yearly visits that we all love and enjoy. But they're fun. If you're doing the right thing, and you're doing your sanitation safety to the T, you have nothing to worry about. So that's why my team is always on it to make sure cleanliness is number one, safety is number one, and making sure everything's sanitized and ready to go. So that's a little bit more about our catering company and our bakery. Again, we ship all over the US, but I also manage another team here on site. And this is another type of job that I have employees with. And these are the people that are actually in our units. We have a group home on site, which is where youth live. So when youth are dealing with a lot of struggles in the world, depression, anxiety, self-harm, we basically are trying to teach them a better way of living to make sure they're more able to live in their home-based life, right? Go back to mom and dad, because we know there's foster youth, there's adoption, but these youth are learning how to cope with day-to-day life skills, which we know in our industry, especially when it comes to the culinary world, you're working 2 or 3 jobs, or you're deciding to do other things like drink a lot of caffeine or coffee or Starbucks or energy drinks to keep going, because not one job in the industry of hospitality is enough sometimes to make life easy and capable of doing a lot of things. So we try to prevent them. One of our main focuses that we teach in our program is a drug and alcohol prevention for our youth. We know our industry has a huge issue with drugs and alcohol, because youth are using drugs to keep going and work 3 jobs to make enough money to make their living and pay for their home. But there's also the drinking side. Chefs are drinking on the job, or meeting with a lot of wineries or vendors, and we try to promote that that's not a great way of dealing with it. If you have a business owner, great, they can do it on their off time. But when it comes to working, you try to focus on the positive and try to make sure you don't self-harm yourself when it comes to your job, or hurt yourself later on, because it leads to a lot of these things. So I'm talking about that only because I'm talking from experience with people I've worked with in the industry. So one part of the job, as I was mentioning, is we have, the bakery and we have the catering side, but we also have the group home setting where I have cooks in the kitchen making meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for kids. And there's a lot of things that come into play. There's your lactose youth, your pescatarians, your vegans, your vegetarians, your gluten-free, your dairy-free, all these new and things that are coming into, light, basically, when it comes to allergies, is something you have to worry about and think about all the time, because I myself am allergic to peanuts, to tomatoes, to milk, to walnuts, and gluten. So I'm always trying to see what's new and different. So sometimes I can't get away from it, but it's also learning what happens when you are triggered by those things. Shrimp, seafood, yes. Those are also really big allergens when it comes to food. And our team is always on it. There's always all these criteria you have to hit when it comes to keeping your kitchen safe and clean and sanitary. All right, so how did I get to be a chef? Back to the fun stuff, right? So I became a chef. Can I just get a yes, Chef Carlos, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. It's getting hot in here. I'm getting tired of, I want to make sure I'm keeping y'all entertained. So wherever you are, just yell out, yes, Chef Carlos.
Yes, Chef Carlos.
There we go. Okay, I make sure everyone's awake and keep going. Anyways, back to the fun stuff. My main focus is how did I get here? So it actually started in 8th grade. I took a home economics class. I don't know wherever y'all live, but there's a home economics class in my program when I was in 8th grade in my middle school. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. Yes, I'm gonna learn sewing and I'm gonna learn cooking. And I'd be like, oh well, I get to eat good food and make it myself. But then the first time we made anything was French toast. And little did I know, French toast wasn't my most popular item to make, only because I set the fire alarm because I forgot to put butter or oil inside of the pan, and I set the fire alarm off in 8th grade. And I was like, ooh, child, that wasn't me. But everyone's like, it was you, the smoke is everywhere. So we had to clear campus, do all that. But at that point, I was like, look, if I can master this French toast, I'm gonna become a chef. And so at that point, and I still know my home economics teacher to this day, but I still talk to her and she's a great friend of mine. But I literally was like, I'm gonna become a chef and this is what I'm gonna do. So when it came to freshman year, I went and told my parents, I was like, look, I need to make some money making food and feeding people because I love feeding people. And coming from a Hispanic culture, food is our life, right? You go to the parties, the quinceañeras, the weddings, any large event they love to celebrate. And it's a lot of for different cultures. And that's what your main focus is food, right? So I'm able to kind of bring people together back to that whole food creates community kind of thing. And that's when I decided, hey, I want to be able to smile on people's face and say, you know what, that was good food. So I did. Freshman year to senior year of high school, I went to 11 different culinary schools with my family, from Seattle to Portland to Vegas to Arizona, back to California. And I looked for the right school that was my favorite or that was going to be a best fit for me. And at first I thought I was going to be going to Oregon and going to school there. But little did we know, we actually had a program in my area here of San Jose, a small town called Campbell. Well, it's a fairly large town. But Campbell, California had the International Culinary Center, which is an amazing center. And that's where I decided to go. I went to go do bacon and pastry, and that was fun. I was actually scouted by the American Culinary Federation to do competitions. So if you're in high school like this, there's competitions when it comes to your level, but in the next level of adult life, there's also competitions. And it's to the American Culinary Federation. I think they're doing a lot still, somewhat, but the American Culinary Federation, I was able to kind of teach with them and learn from them, but also compete with them. And I did maybe 5 or 6 competitions, and I got my gold plates, and I got my silver, and I got my bronze, and I did all that stuff. But after a while, I was kind of, I was working full time just to kind of pay for school because it wasn't at that time free, or there wasn't any grant supports or scholarships. So I had to be paid. Now there's a whole lot of opportunities in getting scholarships for trade. So if you're interested in coming in, into the trade, definitely look up the scholarships because they're there in every high school, every foundation. You look up those grants and you can get them easily to pay for school because it isn't cheap. It's about $25,000 to $50,000. To this day, I might be paying a little bit left over, but it's okay. I'm living the dream, doing my thing, I always say. But we're trying to basically, can I just get a yes, Chef Carlos? Thank you.
Carlos.
All right, so that was culinary school. I competed, I graduated. It took maybe a year to finish and graduate. We did have to do an externship. Basically, we're able to go out there and get a job. And our main goal was to get, a stipend during this volunteer / apprenticeship kind of thing. So I was actually scouted through the ACF to work at a golf resort, which is one of the #1 golf resorts in the state of California, called Pebble Beach Resort, which is in the Monterey Peninsula, Carmel area. Yeah, he bougie, okay. So that's what I was doing. I was scouted to be a pastry cook there, and I was starting to see the whole savory side. And I was like, I want to learn more. I don't want to just do it here. I don't want to stop here. So I did my time. I got hired on full time after 3 months. And then I graduated, and then I was able to work there for an extra 6 months. And they gave me a whole job, pay was a little bit more. They gave me benefits. And at that time I was 18, 19. I was like, what are benefits, So you'll get to learn about benefits when it comes to your adult life. But also I went to culinary school a week after graduating high school, the week after. So I graduated high school on a Friday. I started culinary school on a Monday. So I didn't have a whole summer. I was like, I need to get in, get out, and get ahead, literally get my stuff done and move on. And that's what I did. And it took a year, and I was able to get that job in Monterey, Pebble Beach area. Yes, the production team has a question, sorry.
As soon as you wrap this up, we actually got a lot of questions in the chat. So whenever you're ready, Chef, you have some questions for me. Shall we?
No, let me just finish real quick. Let me just talk. Okay, can I get it? Yes! Woo, I'm gonna talk right now. Okay, back to my story. So I hope everyone's doing good. I'm keeping you 110, you know what I mean? But going through the culinary school life and going through working and learning the industry, I got a lot of no's. I got a lot of rejections. I got a lot of negative backlash for being a bigger boy in the industry. There was a cupcake company in the California area, no names to say, but I went to go apply and they gave me a little shade, as we call it. They threw some shade and said, you know what? I don't think this is going to be a great fit for you because of the size of your weight, the way you look, and then your stature basically, and the size of our kitchen. So some kitchens you learn and you will learn are smaller than others. Some are a lot larger than others, but I had to basically even try harder to say, you know what, I'm worth the chance, and I'm worth the time, and I'm worth the education. So when you're coming out of a school setting, always try to, promote yourself in a positive light and say, I can do this. I got this. I have no one to say no. And if they tell you no, you take that and you throw it back and say, you know what? I am worth it. I am who I am. I know my skill sets, and I can make your business successful, and I can make you a lot of money because they're going to want to hear that. And you have to have the ideas to basically promote that and put it on paper so you can show them. So if you are in the school, if you're starting culinary and baking right now, definitely start your own Instagram, start your Facebook, start your Twitter, take pictures of everything you do, and make sure you're documenting everything, because that's going to be so important later on. All the amazing things, work on your lighting. And there's times where I have a friend holding a flash and I'm taking a picture and I'm working on my portrait mode on my iPhone. There's so many things out there that are going to be like, right now I have a whole setup, right? Just work on that and make sure it's really strong. Okay. So from there, I went to work at Monterey, and I went to work in Los Angeles. When I came back home to the San Jose area, became a chef in Morgan Hill. And then I was able to get this job here as a teacher. So my main focus was to teach. So not only am I a chef, I'm a credentialed teacher. So I'm teaching vocational education to youth ages 15 and 25. And that's what the main focus is, to not give up. And there's different ways of learning more things. And I'm actually going to school in the next year or two, hopefully, to become a therapist. So my goal is to be able to teach these youth, teach them the skill sets that I know as a chef, but there's going to be things they're going to be dealing with when it comes to any youth these days: depression, anxiety, being scared, low self-esteem. So I'm able to take them and support them in many ways. So being those three things, I'm able to have a successful program, but also grow, all right? When it comes to teaching, I have been able to compete. So I kind of hung up my belts back in the day, but I went back into teaching about 4 years ago, competing. And I was asked to compete in our garlic festival here in Gilroy, California. And like I said, garlic festival, oh, well, it's not that big. It's actually pretty massive, if I do say so myself. There's almost 100,000 people that come every week, that weekend, once a year. And the first year I actually competed with one of my past students at the time, who was in foster care, who was a high school student, straight out of high school. And basically I was able to compete with him. And I was competing with 3 other professional chefs who were probably twice my age. And we were able to win first place and win $3,000. And it was emceed by Giada De Laurentiis, who's a chef with the Food Network. So I got to meet her, do that whole thing, do a whole little photo moment, do my thing, do pictures. But we won first place, and we actually donate that money back to the community. So we learned how to be philanthropic. Donating and giving where you live is so huge when it comes to the higher you get, the better you are, the stronger you are, the more skill sets you have, the more money you make. Is also you have to be humbling yourself and give some back to the community to share the love and share the light on everybody else. I competed the second year with another past student, with Iron Chef Michael Simon from the Food Network as well. He was the MC. So if you guys know your Iron Chefs, Google it. And so I actually won again first place with another past student of mine who's actually now my production or my catering coordinator. We won first place, won $3,000, donated back to another nonprofit. And we competed one more time 2 years ago, which is when a little tragedy happened at the Garlic Festival, unfortunately. There was a not shooting, but there was a shooting, which was a lot of negativity. But that's where I competed with my production chef. We won first place again for the 3rd time in a row. And so our main focus was to be able to take our students, teach them the whole side of culinary, compete with professionals who are twice their age, 3 times their age, twice the age of mine, and win. So it's possible, it's doable. No matter if you're coming from a small town called Gilroy, California, and you are, doing your thing, you went to high school, you're for culinary school, okay, there's ways of making things happen.
Okay, Chef. I hate to do this. I hate to interrupt you because you're fantastic, and I can tell that the students are really enjoying time with you. We are just 2 minutes away from the conclusion of our half hour. So I wanted to take a few questions and then we have a quick raffle. I know that might take us a little bit over our 30 minutes, so hang in with us. Okay, so from Caitlin, when it comes to creating new recipes, what inspires you?
When I come into the kitchen and create a new recipe, I literally take everything out of the fridge, everything out of the cupboards, the pantries, and I set it up in front of me. And I sit back and I'm like, what have I not used? What have I not done or I haven't worked with? And I'll be like, oh, look, some almonds. Okay. Oh, look, some soy sauce. All right. So I'm literally picking things up and I put it in a basket. And as those competitions that we competed in were like Iron Chef style, where you're giving a pantry and you have to use a certain ingredient. I choose that one ingredient or two ingredients and I'm like, I'm going to make something with that. So I'm able to kind of create it that way. Always think of being on Iron Chef. Give yourself a pantry to work from, but choose two things that are like coming at you and be like, no one uses this. No one tries this. It has a different flavor. Use it. Right?
Awesome. Okay, we have another question from Mr. Mitchell. Are the student apprentices paid for their internship hours?
Yes, they're actually paid apprentices here. 100% of the money that we raise, again, in Needed Bakery and Catering goes back to pay our apprentices, but also the rest goes back to fund the Culinary Academy, which is completely 100% grant funded or private foundations funded.
Nice. Okay, Liali wants to know, do you have a specialty dish? What's Chef Carlos's signature dish?
When it comes to dishes, do I have a specialty? No, like back in the day, it was cakes. I used to do massive wedding cakes, and I'm over that lifestyle of the rich and the famous of wedding cakes. But then I moved on to the savory side, and I'm like, my main focus is always using garlic and butter. And so I have a lot of food that are my favorites that people love, and they tell me they love them, like my pepper tri-tip or my mashed potatoes that have actually a lot of secret ingredients like bacon, bacon grease, a lot of butter. Don't judge me.
Okay, I'm getting hungry now. Oh, you said butter and garlic, and that was it for me.
Butter and garlic
on anything. That's right. Okay, so from our state officer trainer, he would like to know if you have plans to have an on-site farm for your program.
Actually, right before COVID hit, we did get a grant to build an entire greenhouse in the back of our facility. So we haven't put it up yet. We're waiting for the spring. Hopefully we're in more positive lights, but that's what our goal is, to start, a crop or a greenhouse back there, grow all of our produce. Again, we have a lot of friends in the produce industry, like literally down the street from our place. So we're able to go over there and be like, hey, can I get some of this, some of that? And they're really amazing to give it to us. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. I have two more. One is from Janessa. What is one of your favorite fast meals to make?
Fast meals to make.
Grilled cheese. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Grilled cheese. Yes. I actually do like making grilled cheese. So our grilled cheese, right? Everybody take notes, really. You need sourdough. We have a local bakery in Watsonville over the mountains, and we get our fresh sourdough from there. We get butter, we get rosemary, and we get Havarti cheese. And basically, melted butter, crushed garlic, rosemary sprigs, melt it down, dilute the flavor, put that on both sides of that bread, put 2 slices of Havarti cheese, put it in an oven, and let it do its thing, and it's like done. It's easy as that. Even a toaster oven if you have it. Not a toaster.
Email me that recipe. We're gonna post it.
I have to charge for that.
Okay. Okay, last question. And okay, from Izzy, how long have you been cooking?
How long have I been cooking?
Yeah. Did you start cooking before you burnt the French toast?
No. To be honest, like the first time I started cooking. So once I actually learned how to cook and bake and do all my thing, that was maybe senior year of high school. So I would say, and I actually competed in high school for a scholarship, and I won first place, got $3,000, which is cool. But that was through Sodexo, so Google them for some scholarships. But I've been teaching for 10 years this January, and chefing for about 15.
Wow. Well, Chef Carlos, thank you so much. Ashley, thank you for the introduction to Chef Carlos. I know that you guys worked together last year for regionals, and we really appreciate your time today. Everyone, give Chef Carlos some love. Let's give him some hands. If you, yeah, there we go. I can see there they go. Awesome.
I usually have
Fantastic.
on there, but I don't have it with me.
Okay, so you have the honor of helping me with the raffle today. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we played a game. Today, we're going to keep it easy since we're running out of time. I have a choice between a Starbucks or a Subway gift card. Okay, and it's eligible for students and teachers, not staff. Okay, and so I know we have a few state officers. I'm including you guys today. So Chef Carlos, if you could give me a number between 1 and 13, I will announce the winner. And the winner will need to private message me their shipping address so that I can mail this off to them, okay? Okay, 1 through 13.
Okay, 1 through 13. So I'm gonna give you my favorite number, which is 7.
Oh, mine too. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Jeff Albee, are you still on the call with us?
I am.
Woohoo! You get to choose between Starbucks or Subway. Which one will it be?
I'll take Subway.
Nice. Okay, so private message Loretta in the chat. Give me your shipping address and we'll get that out to you.
Sounds good.
So as most of you know, I asked for your emails because you are also entered in a final drawing, which is coming pretty soon here. We're almost at the end of our fall season. And so there's, oh, Clay say not quite.
One more.
Oh, one more. I'm like, oh, did I make a mistake? Okay, so one more before. And so if you've attended, you've been added to that raffle every time you've attended. And so that's why I asked for those emails. So we're going to have a raffle that has lots of gift cards and little swag building up each week. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, teachers and students, for coming. We do this because of you and people like Chef Carlos giving their time for students. It's just such an amazing privilege to make that connection. So thank you guys all for being here. We look forward to next week. It's architecture, right, Mr. Mitchell? Architecture. That's and it's an alum. So yeah, I hope you guys are here. Invite your colleagues, your friends, your you know, your admins. Invite anyone you want. This call's open to students, teachers, and beyond. So thank you guys all for coming.
All right.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Chef
you.
Carlos and your team. Great job. Give them a hand. Nice job.
Thank
Chef
you.
Carlos.
Feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Needed Bakery and Catering. It's also all listed in the chat by my team. And you can always Google yes, Chef Carlos or Chef Carlos Pineda, and I'll come up in all your Google little searches. So
There you
That's
go.
awesome. Appreciate it.
We're gonna call you the man with the fan. You are the best. Very nice
get on
job.
the shirt, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All righty then. Do I stay on?